on, everybody? This is new. This is the beginning of Blunt Force Logic. Let me know how I sound for anybody logging in right now. I figured out the audio issue from the other evening, so that's very, very helpful. How's the echoes? Let me know. Let me know. I can lower mine a little bit. Let's go check. I think I feel a little echo. We're going to talk about some news on this one. I would love for you to share this episode out there for me. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Let me know how I sound. I'm going to be looking in the comments. Help me out. We're on a couple different platforms, Blunt Force Discussion, and as well as being on, let's see, Truth Will Set You Free, both pages. Give me a hello. Give me a heads up in the comments so I know that this bad boy is working. I see about 20 people jumping in. TJ, what's going on? How do I sound? We got a couple topics to talk about. We're going to talk about the hurricane. We're going to talk about climate change and this hurricane specifically, which, spoiler alert, have nothing to do with each other. We got TJ. Denise, sounds all right. Sounds good. Excellent. All right. So new format, guys. I'm going to be doing this a couple times a week. Thank you very much, Teresa. Hope it all looks good. Got the little microphone. There's a little bit of an echo. I know it's heading for South Carolina. It looks as though the hurricane, a little echo from Shannon. If anybody else hears an echo, let me know. I can continue to lower it a little bit. All right. So as you guys may know, so this is just going to be a weekday news show. I'm going to look at questions. I'm going to cover some stuff. Two main topics. I was on the radio all morning and even throughout the day, like in the background. There's going to be some very inexpensive soundproofing in here that will hopefully decrease any of the echoing that we've got. So I talked a lot about the pending nuclear war. If anybody did not hear exactly what's happening with Biden talking to, for the most part, nobody. Joe Biden has made some statements in February regarding he would take Nord Stream down in one way or another. He hinted towards it. We don't know exactly what that meant. And again, guys, please do me a favor and share this episode out. So I talked all morning about how Trump went on a radio show the other night saying how he thinks that it keeps him up at night thinking, I don't think it keeps him up at night, to be clear, thinking that we may be looking at World War III. Last week, Putin said that he would use nuclear weapons if he had to protect his region, which at this point is looking a little bit scary. I see your comment, Storm and Norman, you can't take him seriously, ever. And again, guys, I'll be taking topics if you guys want as we go. This will be about a 30-minute show. Some days it'll be closer to an hour. This is the first one, getting it off the schneid, getting it all tested out, see what happens. If you can, I'll, of course, throw this up there. I know we've got some great Patreons out there, which I'll be doing special stuff for them now that I've got this studio set up. But I'm going to go ahead and throw this up on the bottom. Where is it? Bum, bum, bum. And by the way, we did get a 1-week penalty on Blunt Force Discussions page, because that's awesome. Because there you go. Because I had an unlisted video, and I went off the subject on the nuclear war. An unlisted video that was specifically there with 4 views on it. That was Dr. Artist talking about protocols that might help you flush your system. It was completely unlisted. I was only posting the link. It was not nobody could find it unless they had the link, and it was medical misinformation. So there it is. Yet everything that they've said since day one has been actual medical misinformation. With what Trump said, right now it's the first time in essential history or since the Cold War that we're facing this potential nuclear threat, because Putin, unfortunately, is backed into a corner. I have a friend that has a brother in Russia that had been in prison for a decent portion of his life, that finally got out, cleaned himself up, doesn't believe what the current regime is doing. I don't think most of the people ever do, but they're definitely afraid of Putin. But now that they see that Putin is no longer having the strength that he had prior, they are testing fate, I guess is the best way to say it. And people are fleeing the country, and like an idiot, Biden has welcomed Russians with open arms. He said, Russian citizens, hey, come on over. Why not come here? Which, again, let's just keep poking this bear that has a nuclear arsenal. And for those of you that don't know, this is not like the atom. This is not the typical nuclear bomb that we think of in movies. There are tactical nukes that they can use now. He can use it on Ukraine, which would therefore probably turn this into a full-scale world war, which is exactly what Trump was talking about. So my friend's brother is looking at potentially actually having to serve a country he doesn't believe in. They're calling up 300,000 reservists, which is mildly terrifying. Get rid of that little light. So it's ridiculous what's going on in Russia because everybody's trying to flee. They're calling up 55-year-olds, 60-year-olds to fight, which Ukraine did also at the beginning of this war. Ultimately, the war's still going on because we continue to fund Ukraine, and there's not any peace deals. Boris Johnson, in April, before he exited his position in the UK, decided to put a stop to any actual negotiations, what they were pretty much at. A lot of people don't realize that. But fact is, they were at a position of potentially calling a ceasefire, but it was ruined because they said not to negotiate with Russia. And then he's gone now. And of course, Biden had a similar message. So I think that that's all very sketchy. I think that this is as close as we've been to nuclear war in decades. Meanwhile, we're worrying about things like, I don't know, this gigantic hurricane and blaming it on climate change. There was Questlove that showed I'm transitioning to the hurricane if you can't tell. I do have a lot of friends in the Florida area. My mom's friends are out there in Naples. Their house actually never lost power, but there's obviously massive destruction across the board. Some of the footage from there is insanity. So please, again, pray for the people in that area. The flooding is insane. Tampa, as of earlier today, still didn't have water in the channels because it had all been sucked out to sea. That's real footage, which is absolutely absurd to see that. It's insane to see that much water being dumped in other parts of the state from one cell. And it is a massive hurricane, one of the largest of all time, especially one that almost reached a category 5. It was a couple miles per hour away from reaching a category 5. I think that's at like 158, or it reached almost 155. Incredibly dangerous, incredibly large, moving incredibly slow. So it's got the rainfall of like Hurricane Harvey. It's got the strength of the Katrinas of the world. Katrina also moves slow as well. It's got a lot of dangerous. Let's see, Florida torn in shreds and it's passable. Yeah, so it's actually re-strengthened from what I understand. I'm looking at it right now. It is already strengthened. Now it's still Tropical Storm Ian, but it is about to become a hurricane again as it intensifies and goes back to South Carolina, I believe. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing right here. So it's re-intensifying. It's going to hit South Carolina's category 1. Again, the strength of the 1 is not the biggest issue. The biggest issue at that point is going to be the fact that it's moving so insanely slow that it is causing just an absolute dump of rainfall and flooding. Saw some images of sharks in the middle of the road. It's absurd. And it's scary. So let's see, what's the average price of gas? I just saw this. New average prices of gas. Let's see, as of September, if anybody saw the stock market took a gigantic shit today, as we are in a pretty big downfall on that one. Average price in Texas is $3.10, but the average price in Oregon is $5.21. National averages, let's see, price per state. What do we got? Montana is upwards around $4. This is all for regular unleaded. Florida is at $3.39. Biden spoke today about what's going on, Lisa. I'll go into climate change. The climate change discussion. Yeah, gators all over the place. Biden pled for them to not raise the price of gas today, which is cool. Saying that would be considered price gouging, as if what he's done with inflation is not, but whatever. California is at $6.59. Is it really? So I've got the state average. So in Mono, California, wherever Mono is, that's, I guess, the highest places. It is 6.68. Mono, California, the state average is $6, $6 flat. So wherever you're at in California, you're at a very high price, Brenda. Drive a little bit with that really expensive gas and go get some cheaper gas. Well, is there any other high ones? What's New York at? New Jersey's 346. New York's at 364. But I don't think people, on the left understand that we've dumped a bunch of the reserves, our strategic reserves. We went from 800 million barrels down to approximately 400 million barrels. Those are strategic reserve. That's not to be used for an election cycle to lower the price of gasoline. Anywho, so there is, right before I'll get to the next topic, but climate change is where I'm stopping right now. So Questlove had a video of a house flooding in Naples and saying how important it is to vote in the next election because climate change is an issue. Apparently, Questlove does not understand that there has been an insane amount of hurricanes before this date. I think it goes up. It's like almost 10,000 hurricanes in recorded history, or what was it? No, over like 1,200, I believe is what it was. I saw it earlier today. Thousands. We'll go with thousands of hurricanes in recorded history. That's in the last like 100 years. How is this a climate change issue? And might I add, there was a stat that I brought up. Let me see if I can find it on my phone that actually gave really interesting information. Because if people think that this is the strongest windstorm, they'd be actually correct. There was or incorrect. I'm sorry. Hurricane Allen in 1980, 190 miles per hour, 190. Right. That was in 1980. 1935, second strongest. I now know where the echo's coming from. Bam. I'm sorry about that echo. Whoever did hear that, you got good hearing. Labor Day, the Labor Day hurricane in 1935 had peak sustained wind of 185. Please note that this hurricane did not get above 155, not discounting the massive destruction that it is causing, probably going to be the most in history. But that's got nothing to do with the actual weather. The weather is the key. If you're looking at the actual storm, this is not the strongest, nor is this a pattern, because these storms with the strongest wind, we've got 1980 in this order: 1980, 1935, 1988, 2019, 2005, 1998, 2005, 2017, 1932, 1955, 1969, 1977. You get the point. There is no chance that any logical human being could tie this specific hurricane. There's no chance can tie this specific hurricane to climate change. And you got Don Lemon. I suggest anybody head over to the Truth Will Set You Free USA, Truth Will Set You Free USA Instagram, as I show the clip of him arguing with the specialists, the forecast specialists, the weathermen, who he asked, he goes, does this have to do with climate change? And he goes, I prefer to talk about the here and now and what's going on with the storm. And then he doubled down and said, I think we need to talk about this in relation to climate change. And the guy goes, are storms intensifying? Maybe. But to tie this storm would be a little bit, foolish and irresponsible, I think is the word he used. Irresponsible to tie this to climate change. And Don Lemon corrected him and said, I grew up there, sir, and I know that things are getting worse. You probably forgot your childhood then, because I'm not going to lie. It's also, this is all over the country. This is just random spots. You never know what, just because it hit your old backyard, your old stomping ground, old Don, buddy, old pal, does not mean that this has gotten more intensified or worse. That's just factually not just incorrect. It's stupid. It's just stupid. So that's how the cookie crumbles on climate change. And you've got multiple celebrities, of course, chirping in about this. Factually stupid. This week, by the way, I have got the for those of you watching on Blunt Force Discussion, we've got Chad O. Jackson this week. If you guys don't know who that is the Uncle Tom creator, the founder, the co-producer and co-writer, and he's actually also in the movie. Chad O. Jackson, brilliant guy, talking about all different things related to civil rights movement, which has been misconstrued as a part of revisionist history, bigly. So really fascinating show to talk with him. I've dropped a couple clips on the Blunt Force Discussion Instagram page. If you're following on there, you will have seen that as well. All, of course, got some hate for those of you that do know on Instagram who Mitch and Johnny are. Johnny Marbles, of course, talking about the movie's called Uncle Tom. And of course, talking about how Chad Jackson is an Uncle Tom and all these different things because he believes that he's not a victim. Apparently, that's the new terminology. Fascinating to see how much the leftists, the ultra left, either liberal or specifically Black Americans, look at those that don't want to claim victim and actually want to look at how to improve the society and culture and all that stuff. Pretty sad. Sad to look at. Let's see, real quick. Also, guys, supporting the show, as I have the thing on the bottom. Also, actually, next week, I met a little bit with. We're gonna have a couple more shows more frequently. Hopefully, I'll get this full echo taken care of. But we've got the former Legsit director Carmen is going to come on a show. Talk to her. Apparently, she's leaving Legsit. Sounds like a little bit of tribalism issues in that group and. Challenging who's going to go against Newsom for governor. So we're going to have that next week. So check out for that. Let's see what I got here. Anything interesting? Okay. Let's see. What else is I going to talk about? As everybody knows, random deaths. Always a good one. This could get me pulled. So I'll be careful how I say it. You got Robert Cormier that I think his family just finally made a statement that it was officially from the fall. See if I can find that. Family of Heartland actor. Here we go. Family of Heartland actor is speaking out. If you guys know, I made a post a few days ago saying that's another 33-year-old fights to death. Well, of course, there's still Coolio that did die of a heart attack in a bathroom. To be very clear. Robert Cormier, actor known for his appearance in Heartland, died at the age of 33 after a tragic accident, the family said. Let's see. They still don't have a cause of death, I don't think. Actor died, injuries sustained in a fall. He was in an unnamed Toronto hospital. He's Canada, so we do know that he's been jabbed because he pretty much have to be. Not giving details on how he fell. That's what I'm concerned. Like what all, again, I've heard of it happening, so I'm not going to think it's absolutely ridiculous, but I love that they waited like 6 days to tell that story. Exactly, Deborah. What made him fall? Again, we don't need to know the family's history and the stuff this poor guy passed away. We don't need to, but at this day and age, I have a hard time believing pretty much anything involving that. Storm and Norman, yes, it is. For those of you not on that, yeah. I mean, look at the DoD numbers. Look at other countries that are banning this stuff, that are not allowing it for those under 50. Yet we're pumping it into children the age of like, what is it, down to 6 months? Way too many people in a short period. I love the participation by Elena. All right, so we've gone for about 20 minutes. This is opening day, just feeling this whole new system out. As you can tell, I've got multiple screens, one camera, doing what we can here. I'll be doing it right around 5 o'clock Central Time, a couple days a week, having some other interviews. I might do some of the Blunt Force discussions live, not totally sure. The digital ones, not, of course, the ones in studio. Tony Watley's will be next week. And I've got some more people lined up. Some people from gun manufacturers, or I guess not gun manufacturers, but the accessories will be later in the month of October. I've got Matthew JC, musician and big military supporter out of the Dallas area. He's going to be doing the show in a couple weeks. And that'll be the next one after Tony Watley. And then we've got a couple more set up. I've got some really interesting interviews with people that used to work for Project Veritas. Probably won't do that one live. Maybe? I don't know. We'll see. Any other interesting news? Authorities reveal how beloved Memphis teacher and mom was murdered. So Looks like a good one. And yeah, respect. Coolio is like, it's like my childhood, you know? 1, 2, 3, 4. And he was never, he got a little heavier later in life, but he still is never what you would consider heavy. So as you know, the jogger that was kidnapped and killed on that run, Eliza Fletcher, they found out that her cause of death was a gunshot wound to the back of the head, blunt force injuries to a leg. Remember, she was found in his garage, or I guess not his garage, in his backyard. Blunt force injuries to a leg, jaw fractures, according to an autopsy completed by the West Tennessee Regional Forensic Center. So you can assume the blunt force injuries happened first, and then they probably just killed her. He probably just killed her. But again, white supremacy, that's the biggest issue in this country. I know Kaylee's still on social media. I still once in a while message them. That's a great question. Blake's in Alabama. Still talk to him on occasion. Snapchat. Let me see. It's and Patriots. I will say I see that they get a lot of stuff, taken down by Facebook because I see some of their back end page. Oh man, it's not even popping up. Yeah, there it is. Of course, I had to type out the whole name. Which again, as I said, Blunt Force Discussions YouTube. After I've already posted this weekend's episode, so I think that it should stay through, which is great. Also, this is a new shirt, by the way, guys. Antifa, a movement that promotes the end of fascism by being fascist. That is for sale on our website, if you would like. The website is awakenotwokestore.com. Use Awake for 15% off on that. I'll put that on the bottom. They still have this Primetime Patriots page. Last time they posted was 3 hours ago. I don't know if that's Blake and Kaylee specifically. Kaylee still has her own Facebook page. I know she's been a little bit more private. I know she's been dealing with stuff with her father. Let's see. Looks like she's also got an aunt that is sick as well. Bummer. Yeah, she's still doing good. She was just taking pictures a day ago. So I think, as most would find in the position that we've been in, it's exhausting to continue to do this stuff. Plain and simple. So I know Steve Melbrecht was doing a lot of posting as well. Yeah. Any other fun news? By fun, I mean anything halfway decent. Again, I'll start planning these shows. I was just testing this out. I'll start planning out some topics, possibly have some, positive viewpoint of something. If there is ever one that I can find, or maybe a fun video. See what, you know what? Let's go for fun. Let's see what CNN's got. Officials issue dire warning, unintended consequence to millions hammered by Hurricane Ian. And it looks just absolutely insane out there. Another 12 bill to Ukraine. What's going on, Renard? Lizzo, you want to talk Lizzo? All right, let me see what CNN's got. Judge bails Trump out of special master plan that would have forced uncomfortable submissions in court. Interesting. TikTok. Well, that's interesting. TikTok and U.S. government near a security deal. The New York Times. Awesome. Always good to see them. Just kidding. The New York Times, Lauren Hirsch reports the Biden administration is nearing a deal with TikTok to regulate the Chinese-owned social media app. She tells Nightcaps Johnson, so they'll have control. They'll have full control of that platform. It's good to know. Just so you know, if you've not already been banned enough, I know Dave Brown with American Snippets posted a video that's just showing the Italian prime minister, might I add, doing her thing, the new prime minister giving a speech, and that was deemed hate speech and was removed, just for the reference. I think a lot of you have seen the clip of her just talking about taking pride in Italy, family, and her home. That's hate speech. So yeah, what do you want to talk about Lizzo? What's the newest thing she did? I just saw this, I think, on Instagram. Um, Lizzo playing because conservatives are melting down because Lizzo played James Madison crystal flute. The MAGA crowd is triggered because Library of Congress let the pop star and she's a classically trained flautist play the tune. Okay, I've got no problem with her playing the instrument. I've got a problem with her thinking about eating it. However, different story. She becomes the first and only person to play the 200-year-old crystal flute of James Madison. I don't think she deserves that honor, to be clear. Very clear. The Lizzo flute controversy, perfect example of what I've learned, what I've termed face tattoo phenomenon, tweeted Ben Shapiro of the Daily Wire. I mean, the only thing I can say about Lizzo, I know when she's calling herself, when she was was it at the Grammys? What was the last thing? While racists played dog whistles. Conservatives are mad that Lizzo twerked while playing the crystal flute. Again, just happy she didn't eat it. Is it the flute thing that we want to talk about? Or are we talking about at the Grammys how she said she was oppressed while winning a Grammy? There's that too. What would have happened if she'd have dropped it? Just out of curiosity. Or did they keep snacks in it to make sure that she wouldn't let go? Done with the heavy jokes. Sorry. All right, let's go back to CNN. What do they got? Here comes the eye wall. This idiot really did film from inside the eye wall. I'm surprised she wanted to play a white man's flute. That's funny. I'm sure she's tried dating a few in her day, so it's not the first white man's flute she's ever played, if you know what I mean. Barney Documentary. So Barney was actually filmed at the Blaze Studios right out here where I was on Chad Prather earlier this week. Fun fact. So Barney Documentary exposes dark side of beloved children's series. That's interesting. It was not always happy family behind the scenes. Fascinating. They've run out of shit to talk about. At least they're not slamming, for no reason Trump. There are some reasons to get upset, but geez. The name of the thing is I Love You, You Hate Me. It's on Peacock. I love you, you hate me. That's adorable. Man, so big news day today is pretty much just the hurricane. As a reminder, I also talked to Bobby Sauce this week. I think he's okay after the hurricane. We're gonna do some stuff together as well. As he is, if anybody follows Take Naps on Instagram, he literally predicted a hurricane like this. Like this is a bigger one than most years. He predicted a couple months ago. We've got the Nord Stream pipeline that miraculously got bombed, whether it was sabotaged by Russia, whether the United States had something to do with it, which holy hell, that would be stupid. Just absolute insanity. He predicted all of it because it's going to be a distraction leading into the he goes, it'll be a distraction leading into the election, the November midterms, and we'll be talking about stuff instead of the economy. We'll be talking about climate change, which of course you can see Don Lemon's clip where he is force feeding climate change down our throats, even though it's got absolutely zero relation to what's going on right now. We could talk about this. Is how I'll end. So Biden forgot the Congresswoman. Geez. Biden forgot that the Congresswoman had passed. Holy heck, what's her name? Wojcicki. I don't want to get it wrong. That'd be rude. Jackie Walorski. First off, for those of you who don't understand, he did that on purpose. Okay, he was pandering to his potential voter base in 2024. Remember who votes mostly for Biden. It's people that, like Jackie, have unfortunately, I think you get it. But yeah, that's mind boggling. And if his big deal was to take ownership and responsibility, saying that was one of the biggest problems that Joe Biden had, or that Donald Trump had, it's pretty shocking to see how he's handled anything himself. And the administration backpedaling. Jean-Pierre Claude Van Damme is blinking her eyes, trying to answer the question of why it happened, without being able to answer why it happened. It's embarrassing. She said he was top of mind, to which I think one of the reporters in another room in another interview about the same thing said, John Lennon's always top of my mind. I don't call him out in the middle of a room thinking he's still alive. Like, he had to have been briefed beforehand, like, hey, Joe, don't forget when you're naming off all these people that worked on this, maybe leave off the woman that passed away or thank her posthumously. But no, specifically stop, look around the room, and call on her. This is horrific. I'm hoping the family, so somebody said how terrible for her family. I'm hoping the family, since she was a Republican, sees this as yet another gaffe that solidifies why people should not be voting Democrat or voting for Biden himself in the next election. I think that maybe they'll find a chuckle, like, we've been dealing with a lot. We lost our wife, mom, etc. But that level of idiocy can at least be maybe mildly comical. All right, we're at 30 minutes, guys. Again, some of these will be a little bit longer, some a little shorter. Chicago Mets are diagnosed with cancer. It's a shocker, as cancer rates are through the roof. Ooh, now this is actually good news. I don't know if anybody's a Deadpool fan, but Hugh Jackman is to play his Wolverine role again in the next Deadpool film. That I could deal with. That's the positive news for the day, if anybody's a movie watcher. All right, guys, take it easy. Thanks for your support. Again, this was just a test out to see how the new room was working out. I think it looks okay. We got the echo dealt with a little bit and figured out. Is anybody out there? Joe here. We've got some sound effects I got to work with. We got national anthem.
Oh, say.
Stuff. So we're gonna have some fun with this, and hopefully I'll be joining you guys every day. What's going on, TJ? Thank you for the name. Appreciate it. That's it for you guys. I'm gonna catch you all on the flip side. See you later.